Okay, so guys, we're casual. We're gonna play 15-2 on Lichess. My brother's been nagging me for months now for me to play a game. Annoying little brat. So we're gonna play. So I think that the last game that I've played was like September 5th or maybe even in August. I'm not sure. So my opponent is 21-29. Let's start. So already a weird move, I find. I don't know openings very well, but I don't think that this is very common. So I want to move my bishop right now so that I can move my pawn to e6 and then try to castle quickly. So e6 and c6 come to mind. I already wanted to play e6, so I think I won't waste too much time on it. I'll pre-move the pawn capture already. Okay, so if he moves his knight there, he attacks this pawn. It's not that much of a threat. I just don't like it very much. Also, at some point, he may move his queen there, and then this becomes weak. So I don't know what I should do. I can always, exchange pawns. If I play a6, trying to prevent the knight move, then queen here is kind of bothersome. c6. I don't know what to play already, and we're only in the opening, and this is probably just standard positions, like in the queen's gambit declined. So I'm thinking bishop e7. So he's probably gonna play queen b3, and then I'm gonna have to do something about it. So maybe c6, and then the queen could come to the defense next move. Let's try that. So h3, bishop b7, bishop d6. I'm not too worried about g4. I don't think I should be. Bishop b4 is interesting also. The only thing that I need to be worried about is that's in some positions, in some variations, there could be a queen check here, trying to pick off the unprotected bishop. Usually knight c6 will protect against everything, but something to keep in mind. And also this pawn is still weak. But I guess I want to castle. Maybe white is showing their color here. Maybe they're going to push the pawns, and then maybe maybe I don't want to go on the king side, but I don't think that this is a good plan for them. So I'll just play the normal bishop e7, and my intention is to castle on the next move. Okay, so queen b3, what we said before was that maybe I could try queen b6. There's always b6. b6 weakens the light squares, and my light square bishop is not going to come back at any point on b7, so I think it's kind of a wasted move. So I'll just play queen b6. So if he captures, I capture back with the pawn, opening the a file. So I'll just trade queens. So this opens up my, well, his, whatever, A file. So this pawn could be weak. So for instance, if I don't castle now, he could simply capture the knight, and when I capture back, he has a free pawn. So I'll just move my knight away. Maybe their intention is to push. I can't really do anything about it at this point, because if I try to prevent it by playing A6, the A pawn is pinned to the rook, so it doesn't do much. I'll just castle, and then they'll play this, and then I'll figure something out. So I've almost wasted the third of my clock, and we're at the 11th move. Okay, so let's say I don't do anything. Let's say it's their move. So they could capture, I capture back. I don't know, you know, like now they don't have a double pawn situation anymore. But other than that, the knight is knifing through my position. The bishop is knifing through my position, so I can't put a rook there, which is probably what I would want to do if the b file would to half open up. So maybe I should try to undermine this bishop here. I don't know how to do that though, because they can always retreat their bishop here. Maybe I could try some weird maneuvers, you know, like bishop here, back to here, trying to fight for this diagonal. So maybe it's not even a good plan at all. So what happens if I exchange? If I exchange the pawns, let's say he captures back with the knight, whatever it is, maybe the bishop as well, I don't care. I get an half open file, but I don't know that it's so necessary or good at this point. And also maybe knight there is coming. So I don't think that I want to trade. I don't like it. Maybe I should try to find a way to push that pawn. So if I could try to move this knight away and then play f6 and then e5, trying to block this diagonal as discussed before. So the only thing here, so let's say I would want to play my knight there. Once the bishop moves, they could try to play g4. So I lose a move there. So maybe the solution isn't to play f6, but maybe trying to fianchetto my bishop here. This bishop here would become trapped. So what to do? So maybe I could try to move my knight there and then push f6. And forget about the bishop. Yeah. So if they capture the pawn here, I'm pretty sure I have to capture back. I could try maybe some type of in-between moves like knight takes, and then if they capture here, I retreat. Or instead of capturing here, maybe they could capture that pawn instead, and then my rook has to move. And then they could try to play the pawn here. So I don't know. Probably knight takes c3 wouldn't be a good move if they were to capture the pawn. So I think that I pretty much have to capture back, and then what they could try to do would be to put a bishop there and then threaten bishop b7. I don't know if I have a good defense for that. So let's say, okay, so pawn takes, bishop here. How can I prevent bishop b7? Hmm. Knight b8 looks awful. Maybe I can try. So the other move that we were thinking about was to capture the knight here as an in-between move. So maybe it's not entirely an in-between move. So let's say I capture, he takes here, this knight would be now attacked. The only square that makes sense would be to retreat here. So that pawn, I'm not sure that it's that weak here. So, you know, I could try to pile up on it, but then here, I don't know. And also, if I capture here and they simply capture, you know, I still have the same problem as before. I capture there, bishop goes here. So I think I'm gonna have to capture one way or another. And I think that bishop here is coming. Oh, and knight b8 doesn't do anything. Because it doesn't prevent bishop b7. I was trying to protect this pawn, but bishop b7 traps my rook. Probably e5. Temporarily blocks the bishop, so that if my rook gets attacked by bishop b7, I can try to move it there, and then this pawn hangs, so he captures, I capture that. This is assuming that this knight is moved, but this pawn would be hanging if they captured the pawn. So e5, pawn takes, knight takes here. Doesn't look so bad. So it's a shaky position. I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to hold on to either this pawn or the rook. So it's not looking too good. So I don't know, like, if they capture the pawn here, I don't know if I can throw in the in-between knight takes knight. Probably too risky, right? Like, if they don't capture back and they play their bishop there. Rook, bishop takes this pawn. Oh no, okay, so this knight wouldn't be attacked anymore because the bishop protects it. So maybe it's not that bad. Also, one thing that I realize now is that if he plays knight takes knight, maybe I don't want to take with the bishop, which would be the most natural move. Maybe I want to keep my bishop here so that the knight never hangs. Obviously, if bishop b7 right now, then I can simply take the bishop here, and if they capture my rook, then I simply take back, and then you know, he's gonna take the pawn back, and then it's a rook and a pawn against two bishops, which I feel is very good for me. So there was a question in the chat that's, why is your appearance so offensive? I don't know what that means. I don't know what you mean by offensive appearance. Interesting. Okay, so now the bishop is blocked, so I can safely move my rook. I don't know which rook to move, and I don't know if I could try to exchange pawns and then deal with the fact that the bishop isn't blocked anymore. And do I need to exchange knights first? So rook, rook. So if I move this rook here, then this pawn is still protected, so once the bishop moves, the rook doesn't attack that pawn. But the thing that I don't like about it is that this rook would be kind of trapped. So if they can try to protect this square once more, then bishop b7 would still trap my rook. Okay, so I'll play this rook. Hopefully it's the right rook or the right move. Rook takes pawn. So now the knight hangs. Also, this pawn would be attacked. I'm thinking about this because let's say that they don't want to exchange knights. What they could try to do would be to attack my rook. So if they put my rook there, their knight there, then this pawn hangs. Probably. If they put their knight there, then it doesn't. So let's say knight d1, maybe rook here. So I'm up a pawn right now. This pawn is very weak. I don't know if... So let's say that they capture with the knight, I take back, and then they capture with the bishop. Then material is equal again, and those pawns don't hang. So bishop takes, which unguards the knight, but then it could threaten this pawn and then this pawn. So bishop takes, knight takes, knight takes, bishop takes, and then bishop takes pawn here. So I like this rook because this rook still protects against bishop b7. So the question is, should I capture with the pawn or the bishop? With the pawn, it does attack this knight, but then knight takes pawn makes it look silly. So let's capture with the bishop. So this is pretty much what we were looking at. So the king is uncastled, and I feel like it's not going to castle. Oh man, I don't know how I missed that. So maybe I can try f6, and then if they capture, pawn, pawn, pawn. And let's say I capture. So obviously the threat would be to either take with the bishop or the rook. So I think that the worst would be, for me, would be if they were to capture with the bishop, because then they're threatening all types of discovered attacks. So obviously not a good position. So now what is probably going to end up as a position is we're going to have opposite color bishops. And usually it's very, very drawish if you reach the endgame. The only thing that could save us if we're looking for a win would be if we were to attack, because when you attack and you have opposite color bishops, it's very hard to defend because your bishop can never defend whatever the other bishop is attacking. But I'm down on time now, so I think we're fighting for a draw more than anything. So maybe rook here, trying to attack this pawn, because this pawn would then be pinned to the king. It leaves the defense of the a7 pawn, but so maybe I can try to pile up on this pawn instead. So let's say I play this bishop here, and then my rook goes there. this would be very hard to defend because the king now blocks this rook, and so this rook, it's very hard to see how they can protect this pawn, and the bishop can never defend this pawn. So I think I'm going to try that. So I didn't look at the move order. Maybe I should have played this first. My thought was that I would want to play this bishop first because this pins the pawn to the king, but the pawn was pinned to the rook anyway. So maybe here would have been fine, or even better, I don't know. So you can already see what I meant by the fact that when you're attacking, opposite color bishops are tricky. Okay, so he's gonna play f4, and I don't have much of an attack anymore. I don't know, maybe I can try to play this move instead and then try to check, and then when the king moves back, I don't know where that leads though. And then bishop here would be hard to deal with once everything gets exchanged. But I would have a pawn on the right color because my bishop controls that square, but I think it's gonna end up as a draw if we exchange everything. So maybe I prefer to double up. I don't know what's the right move. So if he plays some type of f4, f3, f4 move, I think I'm gonna give check, and once we exchange rooks, his king is gonna come up. Yeah, I could either check here or here. It would have been fun if there were a pawn there because that would have been mate. Oh no, because they could always go there. But anyway, so I think that if we can exchange everything, maybe I can hold the ending. I'm probably going to lose this pawn, so bishop b7 and then bishop takes c6, but I'm hoping that my king can come up and protect this pawn, and then the question is, can they queen this pawn? So we're expecting f4. As expected. And then what I said was I would try to play rook check, exchange a few times. Maybe I can try to hold on to the b file so that I don't lose the c6 pawn. So I don't know what's best. I can always trade right now and then play some type of rook check, but then the king can start coming down. Yeah. So maybe I don't do anything. Maybe I can try to play this move. And then trying to work up a mating net, so if the king goes here, then rook here would be mate. Maybe that was a mistake. Okay, so they're probably gonna play there. I don't know if I can stop that in any way. And then this pawn hangs, so maybe I can try to march my king. This pawn will become very weak. So we're hoping king there, and then I can checkmate. But I'm assuming that they're not going to play that. If they play their king there, then I can try to give check with my bishop and then either start picking up pawns, because I'm going to lose my pawns as well. So this is going to be hard to play because now, as soon as they capture here, I have to move my king because otherwise there's a back rank mate. So I'm a bit short on time, so maybe we're gonna end up in a rook ending. I think it's gonna be a bad rook ending. The only thing that could save me is that their king is pinned to the back rank. But if they exchange bishops and then they have rook here check, forking king and pawn, which is exactly what happened. So it's a tricky position still. I don't know ending so well, so I'm assuming I'm going to lose. But as I said, one thing that can help me is that the king is pinned to the back rank, so maybe I can try to salvage it and get a draw out of it. So I'm threatening mate. One thing that I'd like to do is maybe trying to... Oh no, okay, so I'm not threatening mate. So right now, if the king doesn't move, the rook is pinned. So I can't play that. Is pinned to the e file. Because if it moves, then I can give checkmate on the back rank. So maybe rook here, then I would have to do something about it. Maybe then I could try to move my rook back. So again, I'm threatening checkmate. So I have very little time left. The position is still playable. I can still hope for a draw, maybe a win if they blunder something. So this pawn is protected now. And then... Oh, I could have captured the pawn, yeah. Doesn't matter though, because there's no way for them to protect it. So I'm gonna be up a pawn, I think. So I just have to be careful not to lose, because if you drop a rook, it's very expensive. So what I'm trying to do now is prevent the king from coming to the blockade of my pawns. I don't know if that was a good move. So if they want to, they can exchange rooks. I don't think that they should, but then again, so I have to be careful. Thank God for our increments. So what I'd like to do is give check. plan would be this, but maybe that wasn't too great. Oh yeah, so I can always come back. So I have to be careful because now my pawns are lined up, so if the rook... Well, I can always try to push, and then if they exchange, I at least theoretically I would get a draw. So, you know, obviously the problem now is that I'm very, very short on time, so I'll blunder something. I just don't know what and when. So you see here. So I guess we'll just go back and forth if no one blunders anything. So now maybe they're gonna try to put their rook there. I don't know what I'm gonna do if they do. Maybe that, yeah. So I'd like to pick off at least this pawn, just so, you know, just to make sure that I get the draw. Have to play something. Okay, so now I can pick off this pawn in exchange for a pawn, obviously. So this is probably going to end up as a draw. They can simply put their rook up there and draw. So I don't know what king move would have been best. So I don't know. Okay, so I guess they're trying to flag. So a cool move would have been. So I don't know what they're expecting. This is. Okay, so a draw. Let's see what happened. So already from the get-go, all of this happening here. So if we go a little bit forward, so this pawn here was becoming weak, and then what happened is we exchanged here, and then I was worried about my rook being in the corner and then this pawn being so weak, and it was very hard to see how I could protect it because obviously the bishop here was protecting this square. So the solution was to that I found, I don't know if it's the only one, but the solution that I found was that was trying to block this bishop. So we did, and then so everything went kind of smoothly here. I don't know if it's a mistake, but I didn't see it, so I missed it. Oops. Let's go back. So, okay, so I don't know what's happening. I'm trying to click on. So here I completely missed that the rook there was, if I were to move my bishop, then this pawn was very weak. So let's say I were to play, so I don't know how, can I move here? Okay, so let's say that I were to play this, then obviously rook here is possible, and then I would probably have to move here, because if I move there, then all types of discovered attacks are possible. And then if I move here, then they would have this, and then it's not looking too great, because if I try to save this bishop, then they have rook check. So rook takes was a very fine possibility. The other possibility that I thought was worse, but I'm not sure now, worse for me obviously, was bishop takes, because then my king can't move, and next move they can play any discovered check that they like. But you know, looking at it right now, the only thing they could try to pick off in this position would be this bishop, and then I can always try, you know, to save. Well, okay, yeah. So I can try to save it this way. So rook here looks killing, and then bishop was also good. So here the only thing that I found that was good was to attack the bishop. So then I lost a pawn, obviously. So here we were trying to attack. So I was wondering during the game, after having played bishop here, I was wondering whether the best move was the bishop move or the rook move. So the computer seems to think so. I don't know if you guys can see well. Okay, yes, you do. So bishop h4 and rook f8 have the same score, and g6 also does. So you can tell already that the computer feels like this is a very drawish or equal position, probably because of the opposite color bishops. So here, okay, so here there was a mistake what I played. So what does the computer suggest? Rook to b3. So keeping control of the b file and also attacking this pawn. King f8 is a possibility apparently, and g5. Oh, g5, okay. So what I tried was h4. So I think I was trying to play a little bit faster, and also h5. And also h5, what it did was I was hoping to kind of checkmate the king if the king were to move there, and then let's say that there's no rook here, then rook there would have been checkmate. We never got to that. So bishop here I think was a very good move, because it's trying to hone in onto this weak square, and also once the bishop gets there, then I get some type of back rank problems. If my back rank rook moves, then rook check would be devastating. Okay, so here there was a clear mistake. So here the score is equal. The computer suggests rook f2 check, and what I played was king f8. So the best move was rook f7 check. I don't know why. So okay, and then the computer wants to play king e8. Oh, okay, yeah. So in this position, if I go here, they have all types of discovered attacks on my king. So if I go here, they could try to pick off my rook, and they're actually going to pick off my rook. And otherwise, if I go the other way, if I go here, then they can play this. And now they have two threats, and I can't protect against both. The most important threat is that they're threatening to checkmate. And then they also have this bishop that's unprotected, and I can't move my bishop in order to protect against checkmate. So I'm losing that bishop. So, but that's not what they played. What they played was what I also saw, which was the back rank check, and then they exchanged bishops. So here the score is still pretty much equal. So here I had a win. Rook c1 check. Oh, okay, yeah. So rook c1 check, and then the rook has to retreat, and then probably rook takes pawn. Is that it? Rook takes c6, yeah. Okay, so I missed that. So what I could have done is this, and then they have to move back, and then they've left the attack of these two pawns, so I'm free to simply capture this free pawn. And also, if they were to move back, let's say, then I can always go back with the back rank check, and then they have to go back, and then I can even exchange rooks and then try to pick off these pawns and then, you know, move them up. So I missed a great move there. But I had very little time left, but that's no excuse. So here I played, so I wanted to protect this pawn because this pawn would, I think, would have fallen at some point, and then also I know that they can't capture this pawn yet because the rook is tied down to the defense of the back rank. And then rook takes c6. Okay, so here the score dropped also, I don't know why. King g2, so I should have went for this pawn. But I was so focused on trying to win with a cheap back rank mate. So king f4, so again I think I played this, right? Yeah. So king f4 instead, probably going to pick off this pawn, so I should have thought about it. And I never tried to actually win the pawn, so now the score is pretty much equal. So if we look at the graph, I don't know if you guys can see it. If we look at the graph for the next many moves, it's pretty much equal. We'll just see what happened here. So here, I probably had a win. The thing is that if you look at the time that I had left, oh, you can't see it on your screen, I think, but I have 5 seconds left here. So basically any move that I make has to be made almost in 2 seconds. So here they made a mistake, so the score is now minus 10.5. I played rook g3 check, which was the recommended move. They played this, so now what was the move? King g2. So what's the difference? King g2 and king f2 almost bear the same score, so let's say king g2. Well, yeah, so now if they capture, I can capture this pawn, protecting this pawn, and then the king, there's no way for the king to come back because I can, in time, I can block and then I can queen. So rook takes basically loses the pawn, and then it's even for the rest of the game. So nothing too interesting. So you can see that in the graph, you can see that there's some peaks. I don't know if you guys can see well the graph, but there's a peak here when I made my mistake, my back rank mistake, and then there's a few times where I should have played better. So here I could have tried to attack to go on the back rank and pick off a pawn, but I didn't. And then you have to go back all the way to approximately here, where what I should have done is go on g2 trying to attack this pawn. So let's play it out. Let's say we do that, and let's say that they capture. So obviously that's not what the computer recommends, but let's say that they capture, and then we can simply try to exchange, and then I think that there's no way, so there's no way for the king to go back, you know, to protect against the queening of the pawn. So obviously this is a winning game. And what if they don't? So what the computer recommends is rook f5. So rook f5, then I can try to capture this pawn. So then I'm up 2 pawns, and if they can't capture here, because when they do, I can always queen. So again, you know, it's very obvious that they can't stop that. So what could they do? So rook f7. Oh, rook f7. No, I'm sorry, rook f7. King h2. Rook f2 check, rook c7. So basically I'm marching my pawns up now. But anyway, I'm happy with the draw. I could have won, but I'm happy with the draw because here I'm happy that I found e5 because it was looking pretty bad otherwise. If I hadn't played e5, it would have been pretty bad, I think. And also, let's not forget that here I was very lucky that I could play f6. I hadn't seen this, so this was a mistake on my part. The computer maybe... Yeah, so I lost almost half a pawn, a little bit more than half a pawn, but the thing is that I didn't see it. So it's not only I played a bad move, it's basically I didn't see what the answer of my opponent would have been, and it's like one move, so I didn't think too well on this. So I got lucky there that I had f6, and also right about here I made a huge blunder and my opponent didn't see it, so I think that a draw is good. Even though I dropped the ball in a few places, my opponent did as well, so... Well, anyway. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm sorry I didn't win, at least I didn't lose. And if you guys have any comments, you can send me a message, or I'm also gonna upload this video on YouTube, so if you're interested you can always look it up. It's my... So on Lichess I'm known as Seigneur, which means Lord in French. If you add 101 at the end, you're gonna get my YouTube channel. I think I have a link to my YouTube channel anyway on my profile. Let me just check. Yeah, oh no, on Twitch. Well, anyway, I'm gonna add YouTube profile as well. So thanks guys, and see you later.